you think about after dinner speeches, they're a little tricky these days, considering the politically correct environment that we're living in. It's enough to make one wonder, perhaps we're taking life a little too seriously. When you think about it, I was reading this article recently and doing my research this morning at 8. And it was called The Power of Positivity. And they gave 5 indications, so I'd like to go over the 5 signs of how you can determine if you're taking life a little too seriously, maybe some of the effects of taking life a little too seriously, and then possible remedies to help you lighten up. So that Power of Positivity article was really good in that it really made it succinct. You can get articles that go on forever, 5, 10, 20, and you're like, no, 5's good. So the first one, interestingly enough, was you find yourself, you can't laugh at yourself or laugh at anything anymore. When you think about how busy we get sometimes on working deadlines, time management is super important, or going from work to soccer practice or ballet or one activity after another, at the end of the day, you're exhausted. And on weekends, it's catch up, laundry, house cleaning. So when you think about it, do we even stop to have a laugh? It reminds me of the time when my sister and I were in New York, and of course we're at 8:30 down in Wall Street because we're going to Century 21, that 5-story discount department store. You gotta start early because there's 5 floors. And we get off the subway, we're walking to the department store, and she says, wow, these New Yorkers, they take themselves way too seriously. They're all like on their phone or looking down. They don't look up. So she decided to have some fun with that. And I said, okay, so I stepped back and observed, and she decides to make eye contact with people as they're walking. She just starts looking at them. And it was so funny because every once in a while someone would glance up and they'd see her looking at them. And the responses she got were like, ah, or they broke their stride. And normally, they run right over you if you don't get out of the way. So it just really brought that back to mind. The second thing is you find yourself defending yourself all the time. The world becomes a hostile environment. Everybody's on the attack. And it's really easy to see that when you think about what we get in the news. There are so many people that I know that have stopped reading the newspaper because it's so depressing, or it's just really negative. Or you turn on the television and you look at the news and you've got people arguing back and forth, or maybe it sounds like an echo chamber. Seriously? Is there only one topic that anyone can ever just talk about? No, there's really more to life than impeach Trump, really? So the third thing was, do you find yourself on the offense? Constantly looking in terms of proving your point. You get really offended when someone asks you what your beliefs are, and you feel like, well, there's only one way for anyone to think, right? And you need to constantly prove your point. And the fourth thing was, you find yourself always a need to chase after a goal. You got that really nice Tesla. You'd be surprised how many graduates from law school, their first car is a Tesla. That's really high expectations, I gotta tell you, because there's no way I'm ever gonna buy a Tesla. But hey, that's a good goal. But if it's not a Tesla, it could be that $1 million house. And if it's not that $1 million house, it's that house on the lake. And if it's not that house on the lake, it's that vacation getaway. So you think about that. That's a lot of energy expended. Taking life too seriously. fourth thing is, which I found really interesting too, is do you find yourself comparing yourself to one another? And social media has been really instrumental in doing this. When you think about like Instagram and how many people are on Instagram and constantly looking at other people's lives and thinking, my life really sucks. Think about they're going to the Bahamas and I'm sitting here working, or you know, their kids are doing this or achieving that, and you're thinking, wow, instant, you know, you just see how many likes people get or how many views, and you just have this, it really has fueled an inferiority complex in people. So is all this good for us? When you think about it, is this all good? Or could it be something that causes physical, emotional, spiritual issues? One of the things that health concerns that most people seem to suffer from is stress. And when you take a look at some of the statistics on stress, the Center for Disease Control recently put out a publication that they did a study for the last 15 years between 1999 and 2014. And they found that the rise in use of antidepressant drugs has risen by 65%. So you figure, wow, you know, we're not getting, with all this technology, all this freedom that we have, and all this social media, we're having a lot more problems. And that, sure, there's a lot of other factors, you know, people lead more stress-filled lives, or we're living in a culture now that makes it socially acceptable to go seek mental health. But it's interesting that one of the factors is also social media. You know, we become more isolated. Even though you have a lot of friends, you may not actually talk to them. And that could be a very important factor that's missing. When you look at the average person has, 3 to 5 friends in their close personal friends in their lifetime. And are we growing that, or are we shrinking that circle? So it's something to consider. But it's not the end all, because it's something you can fix, which is the best thing. Think about some of the things that we can do to fix. I'd like to leave you with 3 things. The first one would be allow yourself to make decisions easier. You know, sometimes we like to think things all the way through, and I have a tendency to do that too. You know, really, the pros and the cons. Should I do this? What are the consequences? You know, go down every single path. But maybe go with your instincts, because you know yourself better than anyone else. And go with your heart. And that usually will get you through that decision and get you through that to the next level. Another thing is embrace your flaws. If you look at yourself as a work in progress, I'm like a piece of work in progress. So I really speak from experience. But allow your flaws to grow you. Every time, it's interesting, I do studies on the Bible, and one of them was, you know, like characteristics, you know, kindness, patience, and every time I think that I've reached a level, there's always another lesson in there. So embrace your flaws, because you're gonna grow from it. And the third thing is, allow spontaneity. Allow spontaneity. Say hi to someone you don't know. Smile at someone in the line at the grocery store. Allow yourself to really open up. I hope this takes you through some of the things that you can consider when you think about if we're taking life too seriously. And it's interesting, we can be so hard on ourselves sometimes. And I saw this sign recently that gave me a little chuckle. It was, don't be so hard on yourself. The mom in E.T. had an alien living in her house for days and didn't notice it.